Staged high above the San Francisco Bay Area are the slopes of Mount Tam, where you can enjoy the fun and music of Sound Summit. Here to discuss more is the pedal steel guitar player from Brokedown in Bakersfield, Dan Lebowitz. Lebo, thank you so much for joining us here today on Live in the Bay.
Great to be with y'all.
Really excited to talk about Sound Summit, especially from an artist's perspective. But before we get into all of that, can you kind of give us an overall view of what is Sound Summit here in the Bay Area? Yeah,
so it's a music festival. I'm sure everyone listening here knows what a music festival is. But basically, I think it's been going on for probably about a decade now. But it's a real historic site where it's on, you know.
Yeah, Mount Tam. It's a big deal.
There's been some legendary festivals there.
Well, really excited to talk about Sound Summit, but you specifically as an artist, maybe what excites you the most about being able to play at Sound Summit? Because I know it's a little different from other music venues.
Yeah, it's a real special venue, and I think that's kind of one of the things, you know. We were talking about that a second ago, how it's not your run-of-the-mill, you know, throw a stage up kind of festival.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
it's a special place, you know.
A very special place.
Yeah, I think it's been, it was built 100 years ago.
So crazy. And I'd like to talk about you as an artist. So kind of give us a deeper dive into who you are, Lebo, and exactly what you do with so many different bands out here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I'm a guitar player. I'm a pedal steel player. I do a lot of music director work, putting shows together for people. We did some really big shows at Golden Gate Park before. Things like that, yeah.
And the Golden Gate Park is super big. But what about the current band that you will be playing with here at Sound Summit? What are some of the sights and sounds that people can expect?
Yeah, so it's really based on the sort of Bakersfield sound of that kind of country sound. But we're actually a bunch of rock and rollers, right?
Really?
So that's kind of funny. But all the members of the band are from different bands, and we sort of formed on our love for this music.
So a bunch of different bands, or people from different bands in the Bay Area.
From the Mother Hips, from my other band, ALO. We got Nikki Bloom in the band, Tim Bloom, Scott Law, Dave Brogan, Steve Adams. So it's sort of an all-star band of this Bay Area music scene that comes together on our love of this music. And then we got a bunch of originals that we do in that style.
So with a bunch of people from a bunch of different bands, like an all-star band, like you mentioned, what kind of sound will you guys now be bringing, since you all kind of come from different backgrounds? What sound will you be bringing?
So that's kind of what I was saying. We kind of come from rock and roller world a little bit. But like I said, we connect on this kind of Bakersfield sound, what's special about that is it's a kind of form of country music, but it's a real like roots country music, you know, like you know, versus some of the music that was real highly produced and had big orchestras in it and that kind of thing. We're like a kind of, it almost shares some roots with like the rockabilly type of sound, but a country version of that.
Amazing.
So we love that music, and that's what we dig in on.
Yeah, and when it comes to the Bay Area, I've said this to so many other guests, but even just being on this show, I've realized that the music scene in the Bay Area is just phenomenal. But from an artist's perspective, what can you say about the Bay Area music scene and the impact it's had on the culture? Yeah,
I mean, hugely, right? You go back to the Summer of Love. I mean, you can go back way before, but say we just start talking from the Summer of Love. Actually, this venue where we're going to be doing this festival, there was a famous show there, actually, in the Summer of Love, 1967, that featured the Doors and Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Byrds, bands like that. And I think that's one of the things I'd say that I'm excited about this festival for, because it's, you know, there's a lot of places you can throw a music festival or throw a show, and there's a handful of these places that are like legendary sites, right? All around the country, all around the world, right? Places like Red Rocks, we were talking about that earlier before we went on. And San Francisco specifically, you got like Golden Gate Park is a super famous place. You got like the band shell, all those kinds of things. You know, the site in Monterey where the Monterey Pop and Jazz Festival happens. And these are places that have been hosting these legendary music festivals for so many years now. And Mount Tam is very much one of those spots. So I'm really psyched to like get up on that mountain and see the view.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool too about Sound Summit is, like you said, it's literally at the slopes of Mount Tam, overlooking San Francisco. Truly a legendary venue, I would say, to play for any band.
It's in that category, and I've been fortunate to get to play a lot of the other ones I mentioned, you know. Like Golden Gate Park and Band Shell and all those kinds of spots, Greek Theater and Berkeley and stuff. But this is definitely right up there in that category. So
wonderful.
And it's a benefit for Mount Tam, which is cool too. And you know, they don't do many music festivals up here. I think it's just one a year. that they're allowed to do. Maybe because that one
exciting.
back in the Summer of Love went off the rails.
So they're like, we
back
got to
then
keep
they
it
were,
to 1
yeah,
year.
back then they were loose though. They didn't really know what they were doing back in the 60s. So music festival production has taken leaps and bounds since then.
Well, where can people check you out at the Sound Summit? What day and what times?
Saturday. It's going to be Saturday. We're going to be playing, I think, at somewhere around 11 or noon, something like that.
Perfect.
And it starts in the day. I think it's done by 7 p.m.
Wonderful.
So you can make your day of it and not get home too late.
Awesome.
And there's a whole bunch of bands playing there.
Cool.
Lord Huron's going to be there, Sierra Farrell, Kevin Morby, us, and a band called Vinyl, which is a band when I first started doing music professionally in the Bay about 20 years ago. We all used to play at this place on, what was it called? A Mixed Lounge. It was out on Van Ness way back in the day. So yeah, I got a long history with Bay Area music, and you know, I'm psyched to be a part of this next little phase with this festival.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Lebo. We really appreciate it.
Great to be here with you.